Throughout my time as High Command within the number 1 faction in GAR, I've learned a lot about how to properly manage a faction to encourage it into thriving. In this video, I will be explaining exactly how you can do this yourself. Before we talk about faction management, let's talk about creating your very own faction. To start off, you're going to want some sort of theme or genre to base your faction off of, and it must be unique. Trust me, you do not want to create the 3000th Mafia faction or another Rebel Alliance faction. Once you have your idea, set up the group, Discord server, and roles for the in-game faction. Getting members is going to be the main thing you should work on in the early stages of your faction, because without them your faction is nothing. Sadly, you need to have a verified faction to post in #faction-recruitment, so you only really have 2 ways of getting members. One is by asking if people want to join in the GAR Discord server, which I do not recommend, but if you get desperate, go for it, I guess. The other option is to ask players to join your faction at the Raider spawn in-game. This one is less annoying to other users, but still can be. If you have a good idea, genre for your faction, you should have the members coming to you instead though. Now that you have your faction and your members, you and your staff, officers need to focus on pumping out events to keep your members engaged. Post things like Coruscant raids where your members invade GAR, or events where you all kill the boss. Options are endless as long as you have engagement with the events. Something I've learned throughout my time of hosting events for factions is there's always a certain area of time the majority of players are online. I suggest posting polls asking users when they are most active so you can post more around then. For Unsullied, which I manage this time, seems to be around 10 AM to 1 PM PST, which also seems to work for most other factions. Now that your faction is consistently hosting events and you're gaining members, you notice something: your faction has a cap in-game. This can be very frustrating to deal with when you have an overload of users, however, can be dealt with. The way I have fixed this issue is by implementing a quota system of 6 EP a week, which would normally be 2 or 3 events for a member. If they fail this quota, they are removed from the faction and are replaced with one of the users waiting to join. This allows for your faction to constantly cycle in and retain active members rather than leaving dead ones taking up a spot. For the main part, that is about everything you generally need to know to manage your very own faction. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. Other than that, thanks for watching.
Hey, let's go! Cause I'm feeling like I'm running and I'm feeling like I gotta get away. Better know that I don't and I won't ever stop, cause you know I gotta win every day. Go! She really wanna pop me. Go! Just know that you will never flop me. And I know that I gotta be a little cocky. Go! You ain't never gonna stop me. Every time I come, a nigga gotta set it, then I gotta go, and then I gotta get it, then I gotta blow, and then I gotta shut it. Any little thing a nigga think that he be doing, cause it doesn't matter, cause I'm gonna dead it. Then I'm gonna murder everything and anything about it. Boom, about a bing. I gotta do a lot of things to make it clearer to a couple niggas that I always win, and then I gotta get it again and again and again.